The spring air in suburban Phoenix carried the scent of blooming Palo Verde trees as I stood in my kitchen, staring at my phone screen in disbelief. The text message from my mother-in-law, Patricia, felt like a slap across the face. "David, we've decided it's best if you don't attend Emma's graduation ceremony, family only. Hope you understand." My hands trembled as I read it again. Emma, my stepdaughter of 3 years, was graduating from Arizona State University with honors. I'd been there through her late-night study sessions, her breakdown during organic chemistry, her triumph when she landed her internship at Phoenix Children's Hospital. I'd driven her to campus orientations, helped her move into her dorm, and celebrated every milestone. But to Patricia and her husband Robert, I would always be the outsider who married their daughter Sarah after her divorce. Sarah walked into the kitchen, her nursing scrub still damp from the Phoenix heat. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and exhaustion lined her green eyes. She'd just finished a 12-hour shift at Mercy General Hospital. "Hey, babe, how was your day at the firm?" she asked, kissing my cheek. I couldn't hide the tension in my voice. "Your mother uninvited me from Emma's graduation." Sarah's face went pale. She grabbed my phone, reading the message twice before her jaw clenched. "She did what?" She said, "Family only." 3 years, Sarah. 3 years. I've been Emma's stepfather, and apparently that doesn't count. Sarah's hands shook as she dialed her mother's number. The conversation that followed was heated, conducted in rapid-fire Spanish, a language Patricia only used when she was furious or trying to exclude me from conversations. "Mom, ¿cómo puedes hacer esto? David es familia. Emma lo adora." Sarah's voice cracked with emotion. I could hear Patricia's sharp voice through the phone, though I couldn't make out the words. Sarah's responses grew more frustrated. "No, Mom, this isn't about him being white. This isn't about Dad. This is about you being cruel." When Sarah hung up, tears streamed down her face. She said that Emma's biological father, Miguel, is flying in from Denver. She doesn't want any awkwardness. My heart sank. Miguel had been absent for most of Emma's college years, sending sporadic child support checks and birthday cards. Now he wanted to play father at her graduation. "What did Emma say about this?" I asked. "That's the thing. Mom hasn't told her yet. She's planning to tell her tomorrow that you can't come because of work commitments." I walked to the window overlooking our backyard, where Emma's old basketball hoop stood, the one I'd installed when she moved in with us. The desert sunset painted the mountains in shades of gold and crimson, but all I felt was the sting of rejection. "I've been thinking," I said slowly, "what if we throw Emma her own celebration, something she'll actually want to attend?" Sarah wiped her eyes. "What do you mean?" "Your parents' idea of a celebration is dinner at that stuffy country club in Scottsdale. But Emma's been talking about wanting to celebrate with her friends from her pre-med program. What if we host something for her? Something real?" Sarah's eyes brightened slightly. "You mean like a party?" "Not just a party. A celebration. I know the owner of that rooftop venue downtown, the Clarendon. I could rent the space, hire a real DJ, get catering from that Mexican restaurant Emma loves. Make it a night she'll never forget." Sarah grabbed my hands. "David, that would cost thousands. She's worth it. And maybe it's time her family, her real family, heard what she means to me." As we stood there in our kitchen, the weight of the situation settled over us. This wasn't just about a graduation ceremony anymore. This was about proving that family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, and who fights for the people they love. The next morning, I called my friend Marcus, who owned the Clarendon Hotel. The rooftop venue offered a stunning view of downtown Phoenix and the surrounding mountains. "David, my man," Marcus said over the phone, You want to book the rooftop for this Saturday? That's Emma's graduation day, right? You got it. What's the occasion? It's complicated, I said. But I want to give her something special. Say no more. I'll give you the friends and family rate. What are you thinking? 50 people? 100? Start with 50. I want it classy but fun. And Marcus, I need to make sure this is perfect. The rest of the week flew by in a blur of planning. I coordinated with Emma's college friends, reached out to her favorite professors, and even convinced her pre-med study group to attend. Sarah helped me design invitations that read, "Celebrating Emma Rodriguez Chen's achievement, a graduation party honoring excellence, perseverance, and the future of medicine." Emma still didn't know about her grandparents' decision to exclude me. Sarah had convinced Patricia to let her be the one to tell Emma about my work conflict, buying us time to organize the surprise. On Friday evening, as Emma packed her graduation cap and gown, she seemed nervous. "I wish you could be there tomorrow, David," she said, not looking up from her dresser. "I know Mom said you have that big case, but—" I sat on the edge of her bed. "Emma, there's something I need to tell you." She looked up, her dark eyes, so much like Sarah's, filled with concern. "I'm not missing your graduation because of work," I said carefully. "Your grandmother felt it would be better if I didn't attend the ceremony." Emma's face went through a series of emotions, confusion, hurt, then anger. "What? Why?" "Your biological father is coming, and she thought it might be awkward." Emma stood up, her hands clenched into fists. "That's ridiculous. Miguel hasn't been to a single important event in my life since I was 12. You're the one who drove me to my MCAT prep classes. You're the one who stayed up with me when I was stressed about my applications. You're my dad." The words hit me like a physical blow, but in the best possible way. "Emma, no, this is wrong. I'm calling Abuela right now." "Wait," I said. "Before you do that, I have something to tell you. Tomorrow night, after your graduation dinner, we're having a celebration, your real celebration." I told her about the party, about the venue, about her friends and professors who would be there. Her eyes grew wider with each detail. "You did all this for me? You're my daughter, Emma. Maybe not by blood, but in every way that matters." She hugged me then, and I felt the weight of Patricia's rejection lift slightly. This was what family looked like. Not stuffy ceremonies and obligation, but love in action. "I can't wait to see Abuela's face when she finds out," Emma said, with a mischievous grin. Saturday morning dawned clear and bright, with temperatures already climbing toward 95 degrees by 9 a.m., typical for May in Phoenix. The graduation ceremony was set for 10 a.m. at Arizona State University's Desert Financial Arena, and I could feel the nervous energy radiating from both Sarah and Emma as they got ready. Emma looked radiant in her cap and gown, the gold tassel catching the morning light streaming through our bedroom window. She'd earned the right to wear honor cords, gold for her summa cum laude distinction and silver for her pre-med society membership. "You look beautiful, mija," Sarah said, adjusting Emma's cap. The pride in her voice was unmistakable. I stood in the doorway, dressed in my best suit, despite not being able to attend. "Your mom's right. You look incredible." Emma turned to me, her eyes serious. "I still can't believe Abuela is doing this." "It's okay," I said, though the words felt hollow. "Today is about you and your achievement. Don't let this overshadow that." Sarah's phone buzzed. A text from Patricia. "We're leaving for the ceremony. Emma should meet us at section 101, row 15. "I should go," Emma said reluctantly. "But David, I want you to know, what you're doing tonight means everything to me." After they left, the house felt eerily quiet. I tried to focus on last-minute party preparations, but my mind kept drifting to the ceremony happening across town. I imagined Emma walking across that stage, her name being called, the applause from the crowd. I should have been there. My phone rang. It was my friend Marcus from the Clarendon. David, we're all set up here. The decorations look fantastic, and the catering team is prepping. But I have to ask, are you sure about the speech setup? You want a full sound system? Absolutely. Tonight, Emma's going to hear exactly what she means to me. Around noon, I drove to the venue to oversee the final preparations. The Clarendon's rooftop was transformed. String lights created a canopy overhead, and the centerpiece was a massive banner reading, "Congratulations, Dr. Emma Rodriguez-Chen, future MD," with a photo collage I'd created showing her journey from high school to graduation day. The catering team from Rosa's Mexican Kitchen was setting up a taco bar with all of Emma's favorites: carnitas, carne asada, and her beloved fish tacos. The DJ was testing the sound system, and bartenders were preparing signature cocktails I'd named after medical terms Emma always joked about. "This is incredible," said Dr. Jennifer Patel, Emma's organic chemistry professor, who had arrived early to help set up. "Emma has no idea." "None. She thinks she's just coming to dinner with her grandparents and then meeting us for a small gathering." Dr. Patel laughed. "She's going to flip. You know, David, Emma talks about you all the time in class." "My dad David says this. My dad David taught me that." "She never calls you her stepdad." Those words meant more to me than Dr. Patel could know. At 2 p.m., my phone buzzed with texts from Emma and Sarah. Emma had graduated, walked across the stage, and was now enduring the formal family photos. The messages painted a picture of tension and forced smiles. "Emma, ceremony was beautiful. Miguel showed up in a wrinkled suit and smelled like cigarettes. Can't wait for tonight." Sarah, "Mom is being impossible. She keeps making passive-aggressive comments about some people not knowing their place. Emma is handling it better than I am." At 4 p.m., another text from Emma. "At dinner with grandparents now. This is torture. Miguel keeps talking about his business opportunities in Denver and asking if I want to move there for medical school. Abuela is nodding along like this is all normal. Save me." I smiled despite myself. Emma's wit and intelligence shone through even in her frustration. The guests began arriving at 6 p.m. Emma's college friends, her study group, professors, and some of our family friends. Even my parents had driven down from Flagstaff to attend. The energy was infectious. Everyone was genuinely excited to celebrate Emma's achievement. "David," said Sophia, one of Emma's best friends from her pre-med program, "this is amazing. Emma is going to die when she sees this." "In a good way, I hope," I replied. Dr. Martinez, Emma's advisor, pulled me aside. "I hope you know what a remarkable young woman you've raised. Emma's not just academically gifted. She has the compassion and drive to be an exceptional doctor." "I can't take credit for that," I said. "That's all Emma and Sarah." "Don't sell yourself short. Emma credits you with teaching her the importance of perseverance and standing up for what's right. Those aren't small things." At 7:30 p.m., Sarah texted, "Leaving dinner now. Emma thinks we're going home to change clothes and then meeting a few friends for drinks. She has no idea. We'll be there in 20 minutes." I gathered everyone on the rooftop. "They're almost here. When Emma walks through that door, I want her to know exactly how proud we all are of her." The elevator doors opened at 7:52 p.m. Emma stepped out first, having changed from her graduation dress into jeans and an Arizona State t-shirt. Her face went from confused to shocked to overwhelmed as she saw the crowd, the decorations, and the banner. "Oh my God," she whispered, her hands covering her mouth. "David, what did you do?" "We threw you a real graduation party," I said, walking toward her, "because you deserve to celebrate with people who've been here for your journey." The crowd erupted in cheers. "Congratulations, Emma. We're so proud of you. Future doctor in the house." Emma started crying, happy tears, as her friends surrounded her. Sophia was filming everything on her phone, and I could see Emma's joy was genuine and unfiltered. "This is incredible," Emma said, hugging me tightly. "I can't believe you did all this." "Believe it," Sarah said, joining our hug. "Your dad wanted to make sure you knew how much you mean to us." As the party got into full swing, I noticed Emma's phone buzzing constantly. Patricia had clearly discovered that Emma wasn't at home and was not pleased. "Abuela is furious," Emma told me, showing me a string of angry texts. "She says this is disrespectful to the family and that I'm making Miguel uncomfortable by not coming home." "What do you want to do?" I asked. Emma looked around at the party, at her friends laughing, her professors sharing stories, the celebration of her actual life and achievements. Then she looked at her phone and typed a response. "What did you tell her?" Sarah asked. "I told her I'm exactly where I belong, with the people who've supported me through everything, and that if Miguel is uncomfortable, he can go back to Denver." The party continued with food, music, and heartfelt toasts from Emma's friends and professors. But I was saving my speech for later. I had something to say, and after today, I knew Emma needed to hear it. By 9 p.m., the Phoenix skyline glittered below us, the desert heat finally beginning to ease as the sun disappeared behind the mountains. The party was in full swing. Emma's friends had claimed the dance floor, her professors were engaged in animated discussions about medical school, and the energy was electric. I watched Emma navigate through the crowd, radiant with happiness. She stopped to talk with everyone, thanking them for coming, sharing memories, and laughing in a way I hadn't seen in weeks. This was the Emma I knew, confident, gracious, and genuinely loved by the people around her. My phone had been buzzing all evening with increasingly frantic calls from Patricia. I'd ignored them all, but Sarah had answered the last one. "She's threatening to come here," Sarah told me, pulling me aside near the bar. "She says Emma is embarrassing the family and that Miguel is hurt by her disrespect." "Let her come," I said. "It's time she saw what a real family celebration looks like." Dr. Patel approached us with a glass of wine. "David, when are you giving your speech? The natives are getting restless." "Speech?" Sarah asked. "I may have mentioned to a few people that I had something to say," I admitted. Emma's friend Carlos overheard. "Emma, your dad's giving a speech." Within minutes, word had spread through the crowd. Someone clinked a glass, and gradually all eyes turned to me. Emma looked surprised but excited. Marcus handed me a microphone. "The floor is yours, my friend." I looked out at the gathering. Emma's real family, the people who had supported her, challenged her, and celebrated her victories. My hands trembled slightly, but my voice was steady when I began. 3 years ago, I married the love of my life, Sarah Rodriguez. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made, but it came with the most incredible bonus. I got to be Emma's stepfather. Applause rippled through the crowd. Emma beamed at me. Now, I'll be honest, I was terrified. How do you step into the life of a brilliant, driven young woman who's already figured out she wants to save lives? How do you earn the right to call yourself her father? I paused, looking directly at Emma. The answer is you show up every day. You show up for the 2 a.m. study sessions when organic chemistry makes her cry. You show up for the MCAT prep courses on weekends. You show up when she doubts herself, when she's stressed about applications, when she needs someone to believe in her. My voice grew stronger. Emma, you've taught me what it means to be a father. It's not about biology or blood. It's about being present for the moments that matter. It's about driving to campus at midnight because you forgot your textbook. It's about celebrating when you ace a test and believing in you when you don't. Emma was crying now, but smiling through her tears. Today, some people tried to tell me I wasn't family, that I didn't belong at your graduation ceremony, but looking around this room, I see your real family. I see Professor Martinez, who pushed you to excel in biochemistry. I see Sophia, who studied with you until dawn before your MCAT. I see Dr. Patel, who wrote you the recommendation letter that got you into medical school. The crowd was silent, hanging on every word. I see your mother, Sarah, who worked double shifts to help pay for your education and never complained. I see your friends who've supported you through every challenge. This is your family, Emma. These are the people who've been on this journey with you. I paused, my voice breaking slightly. And somehow, miraculously, you've let me be part of this family too. You've called me Dad when you didn't have to. You've included me in your dreams and plans for the future. You've given me the greatest gift a man can receive, the privilege of watching you become the incredible woman you are today. Emma stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. Emma Rodriguez Chen, you graduated summa cum laude from Arizona State University. You're heading to medical school in the fall. You're going to save lives and make a difference in this world. But more than that, you're kind, compassionate, determined, and strong. You've overcome every obstacle in your path, and you've done it with grace and humor. I raised my glass. So tonight, we celebrate not just your graduation, but the woman you've become and the doctor you're going to be. And Emma, if anyone ever tells you again that I'm not your real father, you tell them this: real fathers are the ones who choose to love you, support you, and stand by you every single day. Biology is an accident. Love is a choice. The crowd erupted in applause and cheers. Emma ran to me, wrapping me in a hug so tight I could barely breathe. "I love you, Dad," she whispered in my ear. "Thank you for choosing me." "Thank you for letting me," I whispered back. As the applause died down, I noticed a commotion near the elevator. Patricia had arrived, with Robert and Miguel in tow. She looked furious, her face flushed with anger and embarrassment. Miguel looked uncomfortable in his ill-fitting suit, clearly out of place among the celebration. "Emma!" Patricia called out sharply. "What is the meaning of this? You were supposed to come home after dinner." The party fell silent. Emma stepped away from me, her posture straightening. She looked at her grandmother with a mixture of sadness and resolve. "Abuela, I'm celebrating my graduation with my family." "Your family was at dinner," Patricia snapped. This is inappropriate." Emma looked around the room, at her friends, her professors, her mother and me. Then she looked back at Patricia. "No, Abuela, this is my family. These are the people who've been here for me. These are the people who supported me through college, who celebrated my victories and helped me through my failures." Miguel stepped forward awkwardly. "Emma, mija, I drove all the way from Denver to see you graduate. Can't we just go somewhere and talk?" Emma's voice was gentle but firm. "Miguel, I appreciate you coming. But where were you when I was struggling with calculus my freshman year? Where were you when I was applying to medical schools? Where were you when I needed a father?" She gestured toward me. "David was here, every step of the way. He's earned the right to call himself my father." Patricia's face went white. "Emma, you're making a scene." "No, Abuela, I'm standing up for my family, for the people who've actually been my family." The tension in the air was palpable. Emma's friends had gathered around her in support, and I could see the protective instincts of her chosen family kicking in. "Mrs. Rodriguez," Dr. Martinez said calmly, "perhaps this isn't the time or place for family disagreements. Emma has accomplished something remarkable today, and she deserves to celebrate." Patricia looked around the room, perhaps seeing for the first time the genuine love and support surrounding her granddaughter. Her expression softened slightly, and for a moment I thought she might apologize. Instead, she turned to leave. "Come on, Robert. Miguel, we're not wanted here." "Abuela, wait!" Emma called out. "You are wanted here. You're always wanted. But not if you can't accept that David is part of this family too." Patricia paused at the elevator doors. For a moment, the family resemblance between her and Emma was striking. The same stubborn chin, the same intelligent eyes. But where Emma's strength came from love and inclusion, Patricia's came from pride and tradition. "I'll be at home when you come to your senses," Patricia said quietly, and then she was gone. The party slowly resumed, but with a different energy. Emma's friends rallied around her, offering support and distraction. Her professors shared stories and advice, but I could see the confrontation had taken its toll on her. I found her a few minutes later, standing at the railing overlooking the city. "You okay?" I asked. "I will be," she said. I hate that it had to come to this." "I know, but Emma, what you did tonight, standing up for what's right, for the people who love you, that took courage." She leaned against my shoulder. "I meant what I said. You're my dad, not because you married my mom, but because you chose to be." As we stood there looking out over Phoenix, I realized that sometimes family isn't about who you're born to. It's about who you choose to love, and who chooses to love you back. The party wound down around midnight, but Emma's joy was infectious, carrying over into the following days. Photos and videos from the celebration flooded social media, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. Emma's friends from high school and college, many of whom hadn't been able to attend, commented on how beautiful the party looked and how happy Emma seemed. But the real impact wasn't on social media. It was in the conversations that followed. On Sunday morning, Sarah and I were having coffee on our back patio when Emma joined us, still in her pajamas, her hair tousled from sleep. "I can't stop thinking about last night," she said, settling into the chair between us. "Not just the party, though, that was incredible, but what happened with Abuela." "How are you feeling about it?" Sarah asked gently. Emma was quiet for a moment, watching a roadrunner dart across our yard, a sight that always reminded me how much I'd grown to love the Arizona desert. "Sad, but not sorry," she said finally. "I'm sad that she can't see past her own prejudices to embrace David as family, but I'm not sorry for standing up to her." My phone buzzed with a text message. When I looked at it, my heart skipped a beat. "Who is it?" Sarah asked, noticing my expression. "Your mother," I said, showing them the message. "David, can we talk? I'll be at your house at 2 p.m. Emma and Sarah exchanged glances. "What do you think she wants?" Emma asked. "Only one way to find out," I replied. The morning passed slowly. I tried to focus on work emails, but my mind kept racing through possible scenarios. Was Patricia coming to apologize? To issue ultimatums? To try to convince Emma to choose between her grandmother and me? At exactly 2 p.m., Patricia's silver Cadillac pulled into our driveway. She sat in the car for a full minute before getting out, and I could see the internal struggle playing out on her face. Sarah answered the door, and I heard their brief exchange in Spanish before Patricia appeared in our living room. She looked older than she had just 2 days ago, the confrontation at the party having taken its toll. "David," she said formally, "thank you for agreeing to see me." "Of course. Please sit down. Can I get you something to drink?" She shook her head, perching on the edge of our sofa like she might need to make a quick escape. Sarah and Emma flanked her, creating an awkward triangle of tension. "I've been thinking about what happened Saturday night," Patricia began, her voice carefully controlled, "about what Emma said, about what you said in your speech." I waited, not wanting to interrupt whatever she was working up to. "I need you to understand something," she continued. "When Sarah divorced Miguel, it broke our hearts. Not because we loved him, he was never good enough for our daughter, but because we saw how much Emma hurt, how confused she was about why her father wasn't there. Emma shifted uncomfortably. Abuela, we don't need to. Yes, we do, Patricia said firmly. Let me finish. She turned back to me. When Sarah married you, I was angry. Angry that she was moving on. Angry that Emma would have another father figure who might leave. Angry that you were different from us. The admission hung in the air. Sarah's jaw tightened, but Patricia continued. I watched you at family dinners, and you were polite, but distant. I thought you were being standoffish, like you thought you were better than us. Mrs. Rodriguez, I said carefully, I was trying to be respectful. I didn't want to overstep. I know that now, she interrupted. Yesterday, after we left the party, Miguel started talking about Emma, about how proud he was of her, how he wanted to be more involved in her life now that she was becoming a doctor. Patricia's voice grew sharp, and I realized something. He was talking about Emma like she was a trophy, something to be proud of without having earned the right. You've never done that. You've never claimed credit for her achievements. She paused, looking directly at Emma. But you should have. Because watching you Saturday night, listening to your speech, seeing how Emma looked at you, I realized that you haven't just been present for her achievements. You've been present for her. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Abuela, I owe you an apology, David. All of you. I let my own fears and prejudices cloud my judgment. I was so afraid of Emma getting hurt again that I couldn't see she had found something better than what she lost. The silence in the room was profound. Sarah reached for my hand, squeezing it tightly. I don't expect forgiveness right away, Patricia continued, but I hope in time you might consider giving an old woman a chance to do better. I looked at this proud woman who had just humbled herself in front of her family, and I saw not the adversary I'd been fighting, but a grandmother who loved Emma fiercely and was scared of losing her. Mrs. Rodriguez, I said, you don't need my forgiveness. You need Emma's and Sarah's. But if it matters, I never wanted to take anything away from your family. I only wanted to add to it. Emma stood up and walked to her grandmother, kneeling beside the sofa. Abuela, I love you. I've always loved you, but I need you to love all of me, including the parts of my life that include David. Patricia's composure finally cracked. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she pulled Emma into a hug. I do, Mija. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. Over the following weeks, the family dynamics slowly began to shift. Patricia made an effort to include me in conversations, to ask about my work, to acknowledge the role I played in Emma's life. It wasn't perfect. Years of tension don't disappear overnight, but it was progress. The real test came a month later when Emma received her acceptance letter to the University of Arizona's medical school. She called me at work, screaming with excitement. Dad, I got in. I got into med school. I left the office immediately and drove home to find Sarah and Emma celebrating in the kitchen. But what surprised me was seeing Patricia's car in the driveway. I found her in the kitchen, helping Sarah prepare a celebratory dinner. When she saw me, she smiled, genuinely smiled, for the first time in 3 years. David, she said, Emma wanted all of her family here to celebrate. All of her family. The words meant everything. That evening, as we sat around the dinner table, Sarah, Emma, Patricia, Robert, and me, I reflected on how much had changed. The conversation flowed naturally, with Patricia actually asking me about my work and sharing stories about Emma's childhood that I'd never heard. You know, Patricia said as we were clearing the dishes, I've been thinking about Emma's medical school graduation. It's 4 years away, but it's going to be a big celebration. Emma grinned. Are you planning to uninvite anyone from that one, Abuela? Patricia laughed, actually laughed. No, Mija. I think we've all learned that family is bigger than we sometimes think it is. Later that night, as Sarah and I were getting ready for bed, she reflected on the day's events. I never thought I'd see the day when my mother would apologize to you, she said. People can change, I replied. She loves Emma. That was never the issue. What was the issue? I thought about it for a moment. Fear, I think. Fear that loving me meant she had to love Emma less. Fear that accepting me meant admitting she was wrong about something important. Sarah nodded. And now? Now she's realized that love isn't a finite resource. The more people who love Emma, the richer her life becomes. 3 months later, as Emma prepared to start medical school, she asked me to help her move into her apartment in Tucson. As we loaded boxes into my truck, she grew thoughtful. Dad, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you ever regret marrying Mom? I mean, because of all the drama with Abuela and everything? I stopped loading boxes and looked at her. Emma, marrying your mother was the best decision I've ever made. Not despite the complications, but because of them. Those complications led to some of the most meaningful relationships of my life. Really? Really? I got to be your father. I got to watch you grow into an incredible young woman. I got to learn that family isn't about where you come from. It's about where you choose to belong. As we drove toward Tucson, Emma talked about her plans for medical school, her dreams of becoming a pediatric surgeon, her excitement about the future. I listened, marveling at this remarkable person who had trusted me enough to call me Dad. Sometimes the most important battles we fight aren't against enemies, but for the people we love. Sometimes standing up means standing firm in the face of rejection, and sometimes the greatest victories come not from defeating others, but from proving that love really can conquer fear. Emma's graduation party had been about more than celebrating her achievement. It had been about defining family on our own terms. And in the end, even Patricia had come to understand that a family built on choice and commitment can be just as strong as one built on blood. As we pulled into Emma's new apartment complex, she turned to me with a smile. Thanks, Dad, for everything. Thank you, I replied, for letting me be your father. And I meant every word.